So your new episode is out and you are sitting there refreshing your analytics, trying to see if anybody's looking at it. You're bouncing to AVD, CTR. Is my thumbnail good enough? Do I need to change my thumbnail, my title? Oh gosh, did I retention edit well enough? My AVD, it's spiky. What is going on? You're pulling up your old breakout hits. You're comparing the performance of the old to the new and your head's spinning. Or maybe it's even worse. Maybe you're sitting there at 0 views, refreshing, seeing no impressions, no views, wondering if anybody's ever going to look at your content. How do I know about this? Because I've done it. I have done it. And I'll confess, I still do it to a certain extent. Some of the same behaviors, the checking behaviors, they do not go away. They get worse as you get bigger sometimes. And I'll tell you what doesn't work. Trying to stop looking at your stats altogether, to set it and forget it, to not look. I've actually had friends be like, you are too addicted to analytics. You are too addicted to checking your stats. Because this is the thing they don't understand. Analyzing your stats and using it to make intelligent decisions about your channel is actually something that can take you from a poor middling performance to having a really solid or even a rapidly growing channel. Understanding the viewer feedback and how to pivot according to that. Now that said, there's a point where it kind of becomes counterproductive and it actually hurts you and hurts your motivation. If you're not careful with it, it can actually cause you to quit YouTube altogether. So in this episode, I'm going to talk about why we do it, why it's not helpful, what to do instead, and ways to balance being responsible with your analytics without losing your mind. All right, let's start out with why we do it. So on a fundamental level, it is actually good to look at your YouTube stats, at least to understand what's happening in terms of viewer behavior and how to optimize your content, whether that's how you edit your content, how you do titles and thumbnails. Basically, it will show you the data. If you know how to parse it correctly, it will show you where you can improve as a channel. That said, checking it constantly or refreshing over and over again has a different cause. That is more tied into addiction and how reinforcement works psychologically with human beings and also with lab animals. This is not even a human problem. This is like a living creature problem. When it comes to forming habits, there are different ways that you can shape behavior. People know about punishment and they also know about reinforcement. So if you're trying to change behavior through punishment, you do something bad in order to try to deter behavior. Interestingly, a lot of people think that's really effective. It's not. It doesn't work very well, honestly. Punishment is one of the worst ways of changing behavior. But for some reason, people have a hard time understanding it. I think it's because it's counterintuitive. Typically, it's better to reinforce behavior by giving people something positive for the behavior you want them to adopt. But there's a catch, right? So let's say you really like candy. If you get a piece of candy, every time you do the thing they want you to do, that's more motivating than getting hit or shouted at when you do the thing they don't want you to do.
Ooh, a piece of candy. Ooh, a piece of candy.
Okay? So I know it's weird, but it's true. Now, here's the thing though. Every single time is not the most addictive, because people have this thing where they habituate. Habituation is basically a psychological term for getting used to something the way it is and you stop noticing it and you kind of coast. It becomes your norm. So in order to have it be the most addictive, you should get rewarded some of the times, but not all the times. So sometimes when you do the good behavior, you get a piece of candy. But not always. You don't know which time it's going to happen. And this is most famously in casinos, at slot machines. This is called intermittent reinforcement. In animal training terms, and human beings are animals. We are running on animal hardware with some frontal lobe additions. So we get hooked to things that reward us some of the time, like a slot machine, and guess what? Like refreshing your YouTube analytics, because sometimes a view will pop on, oh goodness, or 10 views, or oh my gosh, I have a viral spike, I'm getting 200 views an hour for my channel that has less than 100 subs. Yeah, that's a big old stack of candy. That's the jackpot.
That's the ticket. Woo!
So it is literally addictive. We're getting that dopamine, and we're not getting it on a regular schedule. We're getting it sometimes. So just like people will pull that slot machine lever over and over again, trying to get the jackpot, refresh, 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 refresh. Now, like I was saying, it's good to look at your analytics and to be thoughtful about it. But as far as sitting there refreshing in real time to see what's happening with the thing you just released, it doesn't even make sense to do that. So my biggest video hit was on my RV travel channel. It was a video called "We Lived at Disney World for 2 weeks, Here's What Happened." It's gotten over 50,000 views. And I'll tell you, that video took a couple days to do anything. It looked like a dud. Like, I refreshed a little bit and I was like, oh, this is some bogus nonsense. And I went off and did my thing. And then I think later on I saw that my subs had gone up and I was like, what? And then I came in and it had gone viral when I wasn't even looking at it. Similarly, the first actual real hit I had on this channel was a video called "The Biggest Lie YouTube Coaches Tell." And that was an interesting thing because I put out that episode. It didn't do very much right away. And it actually, when I put it out, it was right when my cat passed away. So I put out the video and I didn't look at YouTube at all. Like, I was just really sad. Like, I had already scheduled the video. I hadn't even looked at it. And my cat passed away and I was not doing anything. Like, there was a week where I just wasn't even looking at YouTube. I just had stuff that I'd scheduled and I was kind of doing my day. And then I started getting a bunch of comments in my email. I was like, what is this? It was for the Page Turner channel, which was very small back then. And I kind of opened it up and it had blown up while I was mourning my cat, while I didn't even have YouTube open. So I went and I responded to the comments and everything. I took care of a lot of it then, and then I looked and I saw why it was successful and how that deviated from my other work. And I had enough data at that point that I could make good comparisons then. And actually on my third channel, I started Nerdonomic. Same thing happened for its first big hit, which was a video about how I'm preparing for a recession. I put it out and it didn't do all that much, and then it blew up and I got over 2,000 views. I noticed because, again, I think I had some comments and my top level of the subs had gone up. So in the YouTube studio, I was doing something, I was uploading in Page Turner, and I saw that my sub count had gone up on Nerdonomic by quite a bit. I was like, oh gosh, and I went over and another sleeper hit. So those all did really well, even though I wasn't watching them. I've had other ones where I have watched, I've sat there refreshing and I watched them go. But here's the thing, it doesn't seem to matter. Like, whether I'm watching or not, they do what they do. What I found though is that because I care deeply about my channel and about providing value and making good decisions, it's not like I can stop caring about it. And so if I feel that need to refresh on a new episode, I won't just kind of like sit on my hands and be like, no, stop it, stop it. I do other things to take the place and to channel that energy into a different activity that is much more constructive. So what I've started to do is when I start feeling like, oh, I want to watch, I go and I do something else. And these are the major things that I have found that are really good uses for that energy. The first is writing a community post. And that community post could be something that is a separate insight about content creation, or a poll, something that I'm wondering about that I want to ask my viewers. Or it could be something where I'm calling back to another episode, I'm promoting something from the back catalog, or bringing it up because I mention it in the new video so people have a chance to kind of look at that. That's nice because that plays double duty. It will help to link those semantically for YouTube and make it so it's more likely to come up in like the suggested or up next after the current episode, which is ideally what you want. Something else that I've done is I have worked on my next title, my next hook. I've gone into kind of, okay, well, I want to make the follow-up video. What would the follow-up video look like? And I come up with ideas. I'll script something. I might go get visuals for it and start working on it and get ready for the next video. Another idea too, I could do some research on trending topics within the same subject area. I actually did a whole video on ways that you can do that, and you can farm that from your analytics, from your suggested videos that I will link below. But looking at those, reverse engineering what's working there, that's a really good use of energy. That's cool with the deep dives. And finally, I might go and take a walk around the neighborhood. So for me, a lot of times I find that if I go for a walk or a drive, or I'm in the shower, I'm doing something else, it puts me into that incubation mode where I have a chance to relax and let my mind wander, and I come up with some of my best ideas while doing that. So for me, like, I like to walk around the neighborhood because I can take my phone and I can dictate ideas that pop into my head. I've had some of my best ideas on walks. Again, it's about thinking about the future after this video rather than putting all your emotional eggs in this basket. Like, my channel's gonna fail if this episode doesn't pop off right now, because It's not true, by the way, and it's not constructive even if it were true. I mean, like, I don't, it's not gonna fill forever. Even if this isn't your big breakout, make another video that breaks out. Work on a string of solid, consistent quality hits, which means come up with another hit. So in that spirit, here's a step-by-step guide on how to publish without going insane. Post it, engage for an hour max with anybody that shows up, your hot, warm viewers, people who comment right away, and then close the app. And I'm serious about this. Uninstall it from your phone if you have to. Actually, Justin insisted that I do this, my husband. There was a couple of months where I didn't have Studio on my phone anymore. I had to use it on the computer because you'll note that it's easier to refresh on the phone, where it's actually a little bit harder on the computer and it's not as fun. It doesn't feel as good and the stats don't look as good on the computer as they do on the phone. The phone version of YouTube Studio is much more addictive for multiple reasons than the computer one. And you can crunch numbers, no problem, on the computer version of the app. You can respond to comments. And honestly, as long as you're responding to comments like once a day, that's plenty proactive. And when you do look after 24 hours, just make sure you're not doing it like a panicked raccoon. That's just all I'm saying. I made this episode not to shame you if you're doing this, because frankly, I struggle with it too. And frankly, it's a sign that you care about your videos and your viewers. And I think that that's admirable. But I also care about you too. So I wanted to say that you deserve better than this. Your value as a creator is bigger than any dashboard number. So take care of yourself. Anyway, it's been great talking to you as always. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.